Hey, what's going on everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be doing a tune-up on my 2011 335i with the N55 motor. I'm going to be replacing all the coils and the spark plugs. As you can see, I've already done a cold air intake. The reason why I chose the engine was because of the way it looks and because I don't see too many with this same exact setup. So I figure I'll be the oddball and try something nice and ricey on my BMW and see how it works out. We may end up going with something different later, but for now we're going to play with the engine. I like the way it looks. Makes a nice sound when you drive the car. There's plenty of videos out there for you to hear that. I'm not going to make a video saying listen to my turbo, you know, who cares about that. And I also have a catch can, and you'll find that out when you go to do your own intake system, or you have to ever replace this crankcase breather vent tube, because that thing just pours oil straight into your intake. Literally, it just dumps it right in there. So get a catch can. I don't care which one you get. I got the Burger tuning because it was flawless, mounts up perfectly. It's a little expensive, but it's worth it to me because of the fit and function of it. Came with all the hoses I needed, everything bolted right up, and now I have all that oil that was going inside my intake system now getting caught inside the can here that mounts right here where the coolant reservoir is. So word to the wise, when you're doing a tune-up on this car, you're going to have a special socket. It's going to have to be a 14mm thin wall 12-point socket. These plugs are unique. I went ahead and pulled number one so you can see. If you look right there, you see that knurled looking nut there? That's what you have to grab onto, which is a 12-point socket. You can also see that the porcelain area right there where that part meets, there's carbon where the gasket internally has been blowing by, so you've been having some cylinder wall pressure push that through. So definitely time for a tune-up. You can see that the plug tip's nice brown, good wear, so it didn't have a rough life, it appears, which is a good thing, but it's definitely worn out and it's time for a tune-up at 80,000 miles. And then this is the original coil. Nothing to really see here. I didn't have any misfires. I'm doing all this for preventative reasons, so we don't have issues later when I go to do things like get it tuned, add exhaust, downpipe, blah blah blah, all that good stuff, intercooler. When I start adding more boost to the car, I don't want issues, so you go ahead and do preventative maintenance up front. And I would consider a catch can being part of that to keep that oil out of your system. So to get started on this video today, I'll show you what I did to do the tune-up on the car. But here's the part numbers of my coils. I picked those up at Napa Auto Parts. Same thing with the spark plugs. They had them all in stock. Didn't break the bank. So in my case, I'll have to start with getting my cold air intake off. So it's like all basically one piece across the top of the engine. So I'm gonna have to take it loose down here and then remove my breather tube assembly here so I can pull this up and out of my way. I don't know, you know, on a stock system, you'll have to just get rid of the middle section. So if you have it stock still, you're in luck. You'll have less work to do than me. And I may have to end up moving my catch can as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead and just get everything to where we can start taking apart the bare necessities. So to get the car ready and down to the point where you can get down to business and start accessing the plugs and removing the coils and all that good stuff, you'll have to take this upper cowl section off, which is super easy. Don't let it blow you away. There are literally 6 bolts that hold this thing in. You'll have one here, and they're all 10mm, then 2 up here by each intake inlet, and then you have another one just like this one over here, right there. And once you get those loose, there's a couple of like rubber gaskets, like these little things here, that kind of wedge in there. You just pull back and pull them out of the way, and then you can pull the whole piece up, and you can see that I got it laying over here. And I just kind of laid everything out so I know which way they go. It's a good rule of thumb if you haven't ever taken one apart, to just lay things out the way you take them off. And then to get this cover off, which is the one that covers the top part of the motor, that was actually pretty easy too. But you will need a special tool. And if you're going to be working on your BMW or any German cars, you got to have some of these inverted Torx. I can't remember what they call them, but this one is an E14 size, and that is for the strut tower brace. All I did was take the bolt out. That's it here. And then I just kind of pulled up on the bar, That way I have enough to lift up the back part of that cover and slide it out, basically sneak it out. There's also a little plastic cover, this one here, that sits over top of these, on top of that plastic cover. Just get you a screwdriver and these little tabs will bend in like this, and you can pop that out before you remove the plastic cover. Get your wires loose, and then I just snaked it out of there and then laid it on the floor. So now we're ready to start doing the tune-up on the car. I've got everything out of my way. You can see your coils. I've already done number 1. I did that so you could see what the spark plug looked like, and then number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't know if that's the actual order. I'm just counting them front to back. So we'll access these, and in order to get to the coil, you just flip up on this, and then that releases the lock on the actual electrical plug-in, and then you just wiggle it out by hand, like so. Now to get the plug out, the coil out, if you wanted to keep your original coils, you might just want to be careful, but if you don't care, you can just grab something like a pry bar or a screwdriver, something of that sorts, and then just kind of find a spot to pry up on and wiggle it loose a little bit, like that, and you'll see it break loose, and when you do that, you can pull it straight out. This actually looks like it's been replaced in the past. It's a pretty new coil. Compared to the number 1 that I had, it was all yellowed and original, so I'm pretty sure the car had misfires in the past. But we're going to go ahead and take care of that today by replacing all of these bad boys and all of the plugs and do them all at once. And then I'll have all these spares when these fail later to pop in place when I have a misfire code or something like that, which let's hope I don't, because I'm going to stay on top of my preventative maintenance, and I hope you do too. So now that the coil is out of the way and we pulled it out of the cylinder hole, we can kind of look down inside the cylinder and see if there's any debris with a flashlight. If there's not, go ahead and remove it. If it is, get some kind of compressed air or one of those keyboard cleaners, something, spray it down in there and blow the air out. Get any debris you can out, so when you pull your plug out, it doesn't go down inside your cylinder head. So you also need this special socket, and I have a wobble extension just to make things a little easier when I get down in here. So now that you got the spark plug removed, you get your new spark plug, find yourself some rubber hose, 3/8 fuel line hose, about 10 inches, 8 inches long, and you shove your spark plug into it. Now this is one that I bought from a tool truck years and years ago that I still use today, and it just holds the spark plug. And this way we can start it by hand and not worry about cross-threading anything. Now I'm not putting any anti-seize on here. When I pulled it out, there was no anti-seize. I've read that BMW doesn't use anti-seize on the cylinder head, so we're not either. So I'm going to just drop it down in here slowly but surely, and then once I feel it go into the hole, I can start threading it and just give it a few turns to get it started. Make sure it's started, and then when I feel like it's started, I can pull it back out, grab my spark plug socket, run it down, and then get a torque wrench and torque it to specifications. So when you get ready to put your coil in, I've already torqued the spark plug, and I go to put this in. I've just got my connector lock flipped up. There is a indicator on which way these go in. If you see how this coil is shaped here, it has like a triangle tip here. There's also a little notch here that is for that, so you can, in case you forget, you can just set it and orientate it the right direction. That way your plug will line up and all that good stuff. So you basically just push it down into place until you hear it kind of sink into place, and you'll know you're in the right place when it seats. And then you just connect your connector, push it on, and then push your lock down, and you're good. That's all there is to changing the plugs and coil. So to access the 5th plug, you're going to have to take this Torx loose here, and that is a T30, and that will allow you to move this bracket that holds these connectors off. I was able to sneak the Torx in there to loosen that up, and then just move it out of the way to access the clip and pull the coil out. So I got it all finished up. Total time was about an hour and a half, and that's with me stopping to record stuff like this. Very easy job. So if you have an N55 335i, don't be afraid to tackle it. It was really easy. The coils, they come out real easy. The spark plugs come out easy. You just have to have a couple of those special tools that I showed you earlier. The inverted Torx, and of course the special spark plug socket. Other than that, you can get it knocked out in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if you really are unsure, but don't be afraid of trying that yourself. If you liked my video today, click that like button, subscribe to my channel for more videos, and thanks for watching.